Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this. I've made this blanket. I've also made a graph for it. Now I was on a program called Stitch Fiddle where you can make your own graphs for crochet and knitting. I've got a larger one here. Now, if you want a copy of this, I'm going to find out if I can put it onto my coffee page. And then you can click on the photograph. You can save it. Click Save. I'll see if I can do this as a downloadable PDF for you. Or you can just, I'll try and hold it. And you can take a photograph of it from here. Just take a photograph of your screen or take a screenshot and it shows you the graph. Now it's 13 rows and you're going, once you've done your first 13, you're going to repeat from row 2 to row 13, 2 to 13. The stitch count for this is sets of 12 plus 6 extra stitches. Now it needs to be an even number of sets of 12 because from here to here is 12 stitches and then you've got 12 and 12. Now when you add these ones up and these ones you get another 12, so that's an even number of 12 and that'll give you this pattern. It'll give you this pattern like this. Now this blanket's a little bit too big to go on screen. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I did 10 sets of 12 for this. So I did 10 sets of 12. That's 120 stitches plus an extra 6 stitches. This is done in a UK treble crochet. That's a double crochet if you're in the USA. Now the yarn I used, if you can see it, it is King Cole's Value Baby yarn. It's their big value baby double knitting yarn. And it's got a twist to it. It's got a white thread twisted in and this one is silver. Now I used 3 balls of yarn. There's 100 grams in each ball and I used 3 and I was left with this and you can see that white twist in there if I hold it up. This is called Baby Big Value DK with a twist and this one is silver. Now so what I did was I just put a darker grey around the edge in a UK treble crochet. That's a double crochet if you're in the USA. Now when I got to the corners I put 2 stitches, 2 chain and 2 stitches in and I did 1, 2, 3 rows of the treble crochet, but around the edges I did a half treble crochet. That's a half double crochet if you're in the USA. All around. The top and bottom, I just picked up the stitches along the top and bottom. And down the sides, I put 1 stitch for each row in. 1 stitch for each row up the sides. That's how I did the border. A really simple border on this. You can make this as big as you want. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Wait to clear my decks a little bit. This is beautiful. Now I've got a bit of a mess around about me. I've got some projects at the side. I've got my computer here. I've got my little work area here. Now this is a beautiful blanket and I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to show you how to do that pattern. You need your stitch count in sets of 12. You need an even number. It's got to be an even number or your pattern won't work out on the sides. then you have to add an extra 6 stitches. So I'm going to do my chain. I'm going to do 4 sets of 12, just so that I can get enough of a sample to show you how to do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Now I'm going to do another 3 sets of 12. I'm going to add an extra 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're going to do UK treble crochets. These are USA double crochets. If you're in the USA, it's a double crochet for you. We're going to go into the 3rd stitch in the chain. Put your yarn over and go 1, 2, 3 into that 3rd stitch. Now that chain of 2 counts as your first stitch, and we need 8 before we start the pattern. So we've got 1 and 2. We're going to do another one. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now we're going to chain 1, skip 1 stitch, skip 1 stitch, and we're going to work 11 stitches along. 11 stitches along. So we've chained 1 and we're skipped 1. We're going to make a first box. That's going to be the bottom point. So that's going to be this little bottom point. So we're going to do these diamonds. We're going to start with the bottom and work up, and then it'll go like that. So we've chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to do 1 stitch. Now we're going to work, so we have 11 stitches along. So that's stitch 1, 2, into the next one is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. You're going to do a chain 1, you're going to skip 1 and do a treble crochet. That's a double crochet if you're in the USA. So that makes our next box. So that is your stitch count of 12. These 11 and that 1 box. So that is stitch 1. We're going to do another 11 along. So that one there is stitch 1. That stitch there. That's 3, 4, 5, 'So that's number 11. Now we're going to make another space. So it's chain 1 and skip 1. So that would be number 12, but we're leaving that blank. So skip a stitch and in to the next one. And that's made our next box. So we're going to do 11 along. Now what you can do is you can write down 8 stitches, 1 box, 11 stitches, 1 box, 11 stitches and 1 box if you want to write this down. So that's stitch 1. We're going to work 11 along. So that's stitch 1. And this is row 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just work 11 stitches along. And then we're going to make another box. So we've got 11 stitches, chain 1, skip 1, and you should have 8 stitches left at your end of your chain. So if you want a larger blanket, what you'll do is you'll do your sets of 12, an even number of sets of 12, and then an extra 6 stitches at the end. So I've got 1 here. I should have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I've got 1 left, 8. Now 12 is a big number to remember when you're doing a chain. If you don't have enough, you can use, if you leave a longer tail, you can use the tail to add some extra stitches. With that is you'll put your hook into your last stitch and pull it through. Then you'll start creating stitches. 1, 2, say you need 3. And then you'll just pull your hook through, and that's you got 3 extra stitches. If you've got too many, by the time you do your last 8, you can just pick them out. So if you've got too many stitches, you can pick them out. So that's row 1 done. Row 2, you're going to chain 2 stitches, 1 quite loose, 1 and 2. That gives you a nice straight edge. So now we're going to move this box over this way 1, and we're going to move over this way. We're going to put 2 boxes, 1 here and 1 here. We're going to start the diamond. So that is chain 1. So that's stitch 1, and we're going to do 7. So that's 2, 1 into the next one, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we're going to build a box here. So it's chain 1, skip that stitch, and we're going to work into this stitch here, this chain 1 stitch. So we've done a chain 1, skip 1, and into that stitch there. Chain 1, skip 1, and work into the next one, because we want to make a box there. So chain 1, skip 1, and into the next stitch. So that has given us the start of our triangle, which will go up like that, and then it'll come back in to close. So that is stitch 1. We're going to do 9 along. So now we're going to do 9 stitches along. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now when you're looking at the graph, you'll see 9 black boxes, so you'll know you have to do 9 stitches. Then you'll have 2 white boxes, and that is your spaces. So now we're going to put a box here and a box here. So chain 1, skip 1, and into that chain that's there, that's a chain 1 there, put 1 stitch, chain 1, skip that one and go in to the next one. And then we're going to work 9 stitches along. So that's stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we've got 9 stitches along, and we're going to build these 2 spaces again. So chain 1, skip 1 to make a box, and we're going into that chain 1 stitch. If you've got the graph, follow along with the graph. If not, you can follow along with the video. So we've got 1 box made, so chain 1, skip 1 and do a stitch. And that's you got your second box made. Now we're going to do 9 along, so that's stitch 1. That's stitch 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we're going to make those 2 boxes again. So chain 1, skip 1 and work into that chain. It's above that box there. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and we're going to work 7 along. It should be 7 stitches, so we've got 1 there, work to the end, 2, 3, 4, 5, got a stitch there, and remember we've got that little chain of 2 there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that little chain. So remember and put 1 in the top of that little chain. And this is what you have, the beginning of your diamonds going up the way, and as they go up, it's going to create a half a diamond in the middle. Now what I suggest you do is get yourself a stitch marker. Get yourself 2 stitch markers. If you don't have stitch markers, you can use a different coloured piece of yarn. Now I'm going to put 1 into that second stitch here. Remember we did the chain of 2. And 1 into this last stitch here. Now I'm going to do a chain 2, 1, 2. Now I'm going to put this stitch marker in that bottom stitch there and get it in. Now the reason for this is when I was doing my blanket, I had about 15 rows done, and then I noticed a mistake in where one of the boxes were, and I had to rip the whole thing out. If you've got these stitch markers, if you're following that graph, you can give these a quick count. So you should have 8 stitches here in a box, and then 11 in a box, 11 in a box, 11 in a box. You can give them a quick count and you can check the position of your boxes. So everything there so far is correct. This second row, we started with 8 and then we had 11 in a box, 11 in a box, 11 in a box, and then 8 at the end. So this one went in 1. So we had 7 here. Our 2 boxes, then 9, 2 boxes, 9, 2 boxes, 9 and 2 boxes, and then 7 at the end. So that's correct. So we can keep those pins there. We can do a few more rows, check the positions are correct, and then move the pins up. And that way you're going to spot any mistakes that you make. So once you've made a great big bundle, you know that everything under those pins is all correct. The positions are correct, and you won't have to rip it all out like I did. So that's row 2 done. So we're going on to row 3. Now at the end of the row, you'll always chain 2 and turn, just 2. So we're going to turn around. Chaining 2 gives you a nice straight edge. You don't have a bulge, because sometimes when you chain 3, you end up with a big bulge there. It's too much. So chaining 2. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring these boxes out here, and we should have 3 stitches in the middle. So we had 7 stitches here, so we're going to do 6. That chain of 2 is stitch 1. So we're going to do 6. So that's stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then we're going to start bringing these boxes out the way. So chain 1, skip that stitch, and into that chain stitch you'll do 1 stitch. That's a UK treble crochet, and it's a double crochet if you're in the USA. Now we're going to put 1 into the next stitch. We're going to put 1 into the next stitch and 1 into that chain. We're working our way across because we're going to start bringing the boxes out like this. So we need a chain in the next stitch. So you can see your box moving out, your diamond taking shape. So we need a box here. So chain 1, skip 1 and go in to the next stitch, and we're going to work 7 along. 1, 2, so that's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So that's my little graph. So we're on row 3, and you can see the 3 boxes in between these 2. That's your 3 stitches. You've got your box, then you've got 7 stitches along. You've got a box, 3 stitches, a box, and then 7. So you'll be following, we're on row 3. So we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to do our boxes. And you're getting the gist now that your boxes on each row will start to go out the way. So chain 1 to make a box, skip that stitch, and into that chain you're going to put 1 stitch. So I'm just going to call it a stitch now, because you know it's a UK treble, that's a USA double. 1 into the next stitch. So we should have 3. And 1 into that chain. Right through the chain. Don't go in the space, go through the chain. It gives you a nicer shape. Chain 1, so we're going to build a box here because you can see the way it's going. It's going up in a diagonal. So chain 1, skip that one, and 1 into the next stitch. So we need 7 stitches along, so that's stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then we're going to build a box. We're going that way, so we need a box here. So chain 1, skip that stitch and work into that 1 chain in there. So our next box needs to be above this stitch, up here, going that way. So 1 and 1 into this stitch. So 1 into the middle stitch and 1 into that chain stitch there. Chain 1, skip 1 and work 7 along. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So as you can see with the pattern, these stitches will get wider as the boxes stretch this direction, and these ones will get smaller. I'll get this. So as you can see, I'll just fold that down, that's where we are. So as you can see, as it makes a peak, these amount of stitches get smaller. They drop by 2, 1 at each end. And as it goes wider that way to make that one, these stitches, you get more. And your boxes just move 1 stitch apart. Each box, it'll move over 1, then that one's moved over 1, that one's moved over 1, until you get to just 1 box again, and then it goes back in. So we've done row 1 and we've done row 2 and we've done row 3. So we're going to go on to row 4. We'll finish this row. This is row 3. So it's chain 1, skip 1 and work into that chain. Work along these stitches. One into the chain. And then we're going to build our next box. So it's chain 1, skip that stitch and then work along. We should have 7 stitches, 6 stitches, 1 here, 6 stitches. Take my pin out, put 1 in the top of that chain of 2. Then go to chain 2, 1, 2. Put my pin back in, to the top of that row. So that's the row where we're finished. And give it a little check. So you've got 6 on the end, then you've got 3 and 7, 3, 7, 3 stitches, 7, 3 stitches, and then you've got your 6 on the end here. And you can see they're in the correct position. So we've done our chain 2 and we're going to turn. So this one is row 4. We'll be stopping here, so row 4 will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches to begin with. So we've got our chain of 2, that's stitch 1. So we're going to work along. 1, 2, that one there is 3, 4, and 5. So we've got a box here, so we know it's got to shift over into this position. So chain 1, skip that stitch and work into that chain 1. We're going to work across here, so that stitch 1 will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 into that chain is 5. So we had 3 stitches here, and it's going to go up to 5. So it's odd numbers we're using. So that's 1 there, 1 into that one, because our next box is going over here. So work those stitches. Make sure you go into the stitch. In the chain, make sure you go in through the stitch. It's a little stitch, but make sure you go through it. Push your hook through. And then we're going to put a box here. So you can see where it's going. It's went 1 stitch, then 3, then 5. So we're going up 2. And in this section, it's reducing by 2. So chain 1, skip that one, and we're going to work 5 stitches along. So that one was 7, so take 2 away is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this one is coming this way. So it's chain 1, skip that one and work into the chain. And work these stitches across. 1 into each stitch, including that chain stitch there. So it should be 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 into that one is 5. We're going to follow the grid. So we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, row 4. 1, 2, 3, and row 4. Row 4. You just follow along 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, 1 box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, 1 box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and then you'll make a box. It's 5, make a box, 5, make a box, 5. So you'll follow that row for row 4. I've got a bigger one that I've been messing about with. So there is row 4. You can see that better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, make a box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, make a box. And this is the position that your box are going to go in. And you can see that there. It's starting to go up. So we've got a box under here, we need 1 up here. So chain 1, skip that stitch, and work along. So this row is 5. That's 2, 3, 4. But you can see where the box is going to go. Get some more yarn. So once you get used to this, you'll see where your boxes are going to go in and out, and you don't need the graph after a little while. So we know we've got to do a box here, and your other box will be here. So chain 1, skip that stitch, and put a stitch in that chain 1 there. And that's as made another box. As you can see, it's starting to go up. Work along. So we're going to work along and make a box here, 1 over. Just go up 1 row and 1 over. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to make a box. And as you can see, you've got 1 stitch, then 3 stitches, then 5 stitches. Each time these stitches go out, and these stitches, these ones will go out, and these ones will come in. They'll work their way in. So build a box, skip that one. Just follow the graph, or use your eyes, and you can see the way the pattern's going. So it's 1, work along. We need to put 1 on top of that stitch. So your next one is 1 over. So it should be 5 stitches in between. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 more is 5. Chain 1, we're going to put our box here and work in that chain space, in the chain stitch, sorry. Work our way along. We should have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that chain space there is 5. And in to there. I'm going to make a box, skip that one. I've done my chain 1 there, and we're going to work to the end. Make sure you put 1 in that chain of 2. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 in there is 5. One into my chain 2, chain 2, 1, 2. I'll put it down and check it, and look at that, you can see them going out. You can see that these stitches are increasing as it goes that way, and these ones are going in. Now I'm going to move my little pin up 1, because I know that row is correct. Just put my pin in. You can do a few rows at a time and check it, and that way you don't need to rip it all the way out, because you know these are correct. And this stitch here, I can move this one up because I know all those rows are correct. It helps so that you know you don't need to rip down there if you do make a mistake. It really does help. So I've done my chain of 2 and I'm turning. So we are on, that's row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. We're going on to row 5. So as you can see here, the beginning is reducing in stitches as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it'll start with 4, and then we'll put a box here. So our boxes now move out 1 space. So that's stitch 1, 2, 3 and 4. So our next box has got to come, our next box is here. So chain 1 and work into that chain 1 of that box. So you've skipped that stitch. Now we're going to work across to this stitch here, and then that'll be your box there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this, we should have 7. We should have 7. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 in that chain stitch is 7. Chain 1, skip that stitch, and 1 in here. So we're going to put 1 there. These ones are getting smaller, remember, because our diamond is going in the way. So it's 1, 2, and 3. So you can see that these reduce each row in between here, they reduce by 2. So we're going to put a box there. Chain 1, skip that stitch, and into that chain stitch there. And we're going to work along to here because it gets wider. So it should be 7 stitches. So that's 1, 2, just follow your graph. You'll see in the graph that each section, 1 gets wider and 1 gets smaller as you work along. So we're going into that chain, in there, and through the stitch. Keeps it nice and neat. So we're going up here, chain 1 and make a box. And you can see that 1 is going to move in the way. Out the way for there, but in the way for there. This is the way it's looking on row 5. So you can see these ones move in and these ones move out. These get bigger here and smaller here as your diamond work. So this is row 5. So I've got 1 stitch, 2, it should be 7, 3, no, it should be 3, we're getting smaller. So we're going to chain 1, skip that stitch and make a box. Go into that stitch. So as you can see, you see the difference, these gets wider and smaller. And as that one goes that way and that one goes that way, that'll get wider again. It'll be like that, but upside down. So work along to the next position of the next box. Just use your diagram. Use your diagram. So we're on row 5, then 4 stitches in a box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches in a box, then it's 3 in a box, 7 in a box, 3 in a box, 7 in a box, 3 in a box, 7 in a box, and then your last stitches. So we're working along, should be 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that we're going out the way. 6 and 1 into that chain stitch is 7. Chain 1, skip that stitch, and we're going to work 3 along. We're going to follow that diagram. And in the diagram, each black box is one stitch, and each white box is one square, one skipped stitch. So chain one. So you're going to skip that stitch and work in to that chain stitch. 1, 2, 3, work along. We should have, it's going out that way, so it should be 7. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Work along till we get to where the next space is going to be made. So 1 into there, and then we're going to make a box. So we're going to skip that stitch. So it's chain 1, skip the stitch, and work along to the end. And you can do as many sets of 12 as you want, as long as it's an even number of sets to keep your pattern symmetrical at each end. Now 1 into the top of that chain of 2. To go into the chain of 2. I can leave my pin there. Chain 2, and we're going to go on to row 6 in the diagram. Now you can clearly see now what's happening. So we're going out, and these ones are coming in. So we should have a box, a stitch, and a box. So we're going to put a box here. So we've got 1 stitch there, and we're going to do another 2, so we'll have 3 stitches. You can see how the stitches reduce and increase as your boxes move around. So chain 1, your next box is going here. So go in to that chain 1 of that top box. So we've made a box, we're going to work our way all the way across, and your next box is going to be here. So work along. We should have 9 stitches now. So if that one was 7, this has to be 9. It increases and decreases by 2 stitches. So work along to where that box is. So this one is going to go across here. So into there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 into that chain space is 9. So that last row was 7, so it's going up to 9. We're going to chain 1, skip 1, and put 1 stitch here in the middle. Now this one is coming up to meet it, so now we need to do a chain 1, skip that stitch, and work into that chain stitch. Remember your chain 1s to create the box. We're going to work along to that stitch there, then we put a box there. You can see what we're doing now. We're going to have 2 boxes together. So you're going to have 9 stitches, then 2 boxes, 9 stitches, 2 boxes, 9 stitches. You're going to work along these stitches. Once you've got one full pattern done, you can just refer to your crochet. Once you've got your full pattern of 13 rows done, then you'll go back to row 2 and you can count it on your crochet. You won't need the pattern anymore. You can just count what you need to do as you move up your crochet project. And you can make this for blankets, for small sections for scarves. You can do cushions, pillows, make great big throws for your bed. Beautiful for a bed. So our box is going over here, so I can see the direction my boxes are going. So I'm in this one here, and then chain one, skip one, and put one in there. Then this one needs to come up to meet it. So it's chain one, skip one, and into that chain of one stitch, and work along. Just follow the way your boxes are going. So in here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you know you're going to have 9 next because your boxes are going out the way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 into that chain one there makes 9. Then we're going to do our boxes again. So we're going to have 2 that will come together. So chain 1. Remember the chain 1 to make the box. Skip that one and work into that stitch. So we need one right beside it. So chain 1, skip that stitch and work into that one. And work your way across to where your other box is going to be. So we're going out one. So there's should have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A 1 in that chain 1 space makes 9. Chain 1, skip that one, and we've got 3 stitches left. So 1, 2, and 1 into that chain of 2 there, that makes 3. So we'll take a look. Does everything look okay? Yes, it does. So we've got 3 stitches here, then we should have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Our 2 boxes, then 9, 2 boxes, 9, 2 boxes, 9, and your 3 on the end. So that looks all correct. So what we can do is move our pin up so we know that these stitches, these rows are fine. You won't need, there's no mistakes. Move that one up. Just keep moving your pins up. Check your progress, and that way you know that everything under those pins is all correct. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and turn. Now you can see we need 1 box. We're going to have the opposite of this. We've got 1, it's 2, and then 1. It's a mirror image, so we should have 1 up here, just 1 box. So you know that you've got to go 1 over there, work all the way along, and just put 1 box there. So that's a repeat of that. So we've got 1 stitch, so we need 1 box here because it comes over 1 more. Where's your pattern? refer to your little pattern. So we are up to here. So we've got row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and row 6 done. So we're going on to row 7. Row 7 is here. So we have done row 1, we've done row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're now on row 7. And that is 2 stitches and 1 box. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stitches and 1 box. 11 stitches and 1 box. 11 and 1, 11 and 1. And then you should have 2 stitches left here for row 7. That is row 7. So we need 1 into the next stitch. We're going to chain 1 and move our box over 1. Once we've done this row, we'll start going back that way. So skip that stitch and go in to that chain. We're going to work our way along, all the way along to here. So it should have 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That one's 9, so we're going to go up to 11. We're going up and down 2 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going in, stitch 11 into that chain 1. In through there. Then we're going to build one last box here. So it's chain 1, skip that stitch and go in to that chain stitch there. And that makes 1 box. And that's completed this half and this half of your diamonds. So we're going to work all the way along 11 stitches and then build 1 box here. 11 stitches and make 1 box and 11 stitches. So work your way along. If you've got that little diamond grid, and you can get that on my coffee page, I'll leave a link underneath the video. I'm going to start making some crochet stitch pattern grids and I'll show you how to work them. And that way you can work a lot of grids and stitches. So we're going 1 into this chain stitch, chain 1, skip that one and into there. And then work along. So we've got our 1 stitch, the top of the peak. Now we're going to work along. And I'll also put a link to my Pinterest page. I've got a Pinterest page. And I'll put my graph on Pinterest as well. And my Pinterest name is Alison Russell's Crochet Channel. I keep it all the same and that way you know what you're looking for. So we're going to put 1 box. So into there. chain one, going to skip that one and in to there and work along. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to Stitch Fiddle as well. Stitch Fiddle is the program where you can make your own patterns. You can do crochet patterns and knitting patterns. You can make your own graphs up. You can do corner to corner graphs. You can do your own stitch patterns for crochet and for knitting. And you can do this type of filet crochet. It's a really good program. And I paid £27 for a year. So that is excellent for a year to be able to make up all your own graphs. And the program does help you with that. Now we're going to work into that one and we're moving along just one. Chain one, skip that one. And Stitch Fiddle actually has a lot of stitches built in. It's got a lot of common crochet stitches and knitting stitches for you to make up your own patterns. And it will give you a written version of it as well. So there we go. That is row 7 done. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2 and turn. And we're on row 8. So we're going to start bringing these boxes in like this. So this one here is going to move, this one is going to move over to here. So we've got, that's the first stitch. 1 into the next one is 2. So we're basically going to copy this row here, this row. So we started with 3, so we're going to put 1 in there, so we're going to have 3 now. So what you can see is, we started with 8, then it went to 7, 6, 5, 4 and 3 and 2. So now it's going to go 3, the next row will be 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we're going to start working in that way. So chain 1, skip that stitch and work in the next one. So you can see that we're starting to bring your diamond back in. So you've got 11 stitches here. Your next row will be 9. We're copying this row here. We're going to copy this row. So you'll have 9 and 2 boxes. So you'll have 2 boxes up here. Once you've got half of this done, or once you've got one full section done, you won't need the graph. You can just look at the pattern below and see what you've got. So we're going to work 9 along. We've got 1, 2, 3. We're copying that row there with the 2 on it. We're copying that row. Put that up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So we're going to put a box here. There'll be a stitch there and a box there. So chain 1, we're copying this row here. So skip that stitch and put 1 in there. Chain 1, you've got 2 boxes, so we need 2 here. Skip that one and into that one. So we're going to work along to here, 9 stitches along. So you can see the way the pattern is going. It's going in, then it's going to go out like that, in a V shape like that. So work along. So we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and work into that stitch. And then we need another box. We're copying this row here, so we need another box. Chain 1, skip 1, and work the next one. So we're doing 9 along. So this row here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is a copy of that row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then we're going to create those 2 boxes. Create those 2 boxes here. So chain 1, skip that one, and work into that chain. That's 1 box made. Chain 1, skip 1, and in to the next one. And work along. You'll have 9 stitches. So what we've got, we're copying this row here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then a box. So that box, I'll move in 1. It's going to move in 1. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more is 9. And then we're going to create a box because we're going back that way. Skip that one and in to that chain 1 stitch. So that's 1 stitch. You should have 3, 1, 2, and 1 into that chain of 2 there on the end is 3. So put it down and check it, and you can see that these are going to start going in that way, and it will create one that will go that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my pin up because I know all of that's correct. I'm going to move my pins. So if I make a mistake, I know that there's no mistakes in these rows. So all that is correct. So we're going to go on to row 9. Now row 9 is a repeat of this one. It's a repeat of this one. So you'll have 3. So you've got 1 stitch there. So you'll have 3. And as it goes that way. So follow row 9. So chain 2 and turn. So we know that box is going to go over there. So we've got 3 here. So we should have 4 stitches to begin with. So that's stitch 1, 2, 3, and 1 into that chain is 4. So we're going to do a repeat of this row here. So we've got 4. We're going to make 1 box, chain 1, skip 1, and 1 into the next stitch. So we should have 7 stitches before we start making the next box. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Would you chain 1, make your box into that chain 1 stitch. So as you can see, we're repeating this row here. We're doing the reverse of this row that's here. So we're going to have 3 stitches in here. You've got 3 there, a stitch, 3 stitches, and that one. Once you've done this, you can see that you're just repeating these rows up here. Or follow your diagram if you've downloaded the free diagram. 1, 2, and 1 into that chain stitch. Because now this box is going over that way. Chain 1, skip that stitch, and put 1 into the next stitch, and work 7 along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that box is moving over here. That one is moving there. That one will move out that way. Chain 1, skip that stitch, and work in to that chain stitch. And there. Into that stitch. And there. We've made a box. So we've got 1, 2, 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 1 into there is 3. And that box is going to move over that way. Skip that one. And as you can see, this creates a big cross. Where's my blanket? I'll get the blanket so you can see that actually creates big crosses in. So we've went out and we're coming in, and as that one comes in, it creates that half. And that's what we have. So it's starting to make that big cross. So they've come out and they're going to start working in. So we're going to work 7 stitches along. Either follow the video or follow the graph. And once you've done one big section, you can use your actual project to follow the rows. All you have to do is just look down and see what you've done. So we've got 3 here, that row there, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's what we're copying up here. It's chain 1 because we're bringing these boxes over. Skip that stitch and in there. So we're going to work these stitches because this one needs to go over that way. So 1, 2, and 1 into that chain stitch is 3. So we're going to build a box, chain 1, skip that stitch and work 7 along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And if you've never done this before, once you've done one, you'll want to do lots and lots. So you can see our boxes are starting to move in that way, and it'll make these ones go out that way. So keep at it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need to make a box. So this one is coming back in the way. Chain 1, skip that one and work your next 4 stitches. You should have 4. You should have the same amount on this end as you do on that end. So 1, 2, 3, and go in to your top of your chain of 2. You take your pin out if you need to, and you're going to chain 2. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows. We're going on to row 10. So chain 2 and turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 in that chain 1. Oops, push it through. That's 5. So we're going to make a box. It should be 5. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we bring it in. And this is row 10. So we've got 3, 4, and 5. So our box needs to be made here. Chain 1, we're putting the box 1 stitch, 1 row up and 1 over. And then work along, because this one will go 1 row up and 1 over. So it's much easier to see where you're going with this. So we're going to put this one here. So we've done our chain 1, skip that one and work into the next stitch. Work along 5. This row is 5 in a box, 5 in a box in the middle. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to build a box here, work into there, and that's bringing our diamond out the way. Work along. However many sets of 12 that you've done, you'll just work along. 1 into there. So that one is there, and it's going to move across one. So chain 1, skip that stitch and work 5 along. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and make a box. Chain 1. So we're making a box here. Skip that stitch and work into that chain stitch. And you can see what we're doing. It's now working its way up that way. So it's a box and 5. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 into there makes 5. And we're going to make a box. This one is going over that way, so skip that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip that stitch, and work into that chain 1. And we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 into that chain of 2. And you can see, other than having that in there, that your chain 2, doing a chain 2, keeps your edge nice and straight. So work 1 into each stitch. So this time the box is going over 1. This one will go over. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 into that chain 1. And you'll see that your ends, they'll go in and then come out. Chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to work 3 stitches along. 1, 2, and 3, because that box is going over here. So chain 1, skip that 1, and work in there. And we're going to work across here. That box is going to go over 1 space. So we should have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, work along, 5, 6, 1 into the chain space, well, into the chain stitch I should say. So you can see that box is going to move over because we're going in the way. So chain 1, skip that 1, and in, and work along. 1, 2, it should be 3 stitches, 3, because that one is moving over here. So chain 1, skip that 1, and work in to that chain stitch. And you can see what's happening. These ones are going in and this section's coming out. So we're going to work across to here, and that box is going to move over 1 space. So we should have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 into that chain stitch is 7. So you can see your box wants to move across for the pattern, wants to go here. So chain 1, skip that 1, and work along. So this box is coming in, so we should only have 3 stitches here. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, skip that stitch and work in that chain there. So we're moving out the way, so it's 7 stitches along. 1, 2, 3, and you can see you've got 5 here, and that one wants to go out, so you know you're going to have a bigger space, and so it's 7. It's odd numbers in between your diamonds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Chain 1, skip that one, and you're going to work 3 across because it's coming into a point. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, skip that one and work into that chain 1 there and work along to the end. 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the bottom, so this should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 into that chain 2 space. Remember, put 1 into these chain 2s. Chain 2, 1, 2, and we'll go on to the next round. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going on to row 12. So we've done our chain 2 and turn. Check your rows. Move your pins up. You're moving your pins up when you check your pattern is correct and there's no mistakes. So we're going to work to here. So it should be 7 stitches to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 in there. So you can have as many even number sets of 12, a even number sets of 12. And on my big blanket, I used 10 sets of 12. I did 120 stitches and then 6 extra. So the size of my blanket is 126 stitches. So our boxes are going to move in. So chain 1, skip that stitch there and work this stitch. Chain 1, skip that one and work in to that chain 1 stitch there. So we've got one more row and we'll have a 1 box there, and that is your first full complete pattern. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that one there is 9. So we had 7 there, so we're moving out the way, so it's going to be 9. You've got 3, 5, 7, 9, and the next one will be 11 in between. So work along, follow your grid or follow your pattern that's got 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 2. You can follow that. Use your pattern to follow along. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 into there is 9. Oops, just push it through that stitch. Now you can see we're going to come in, so chain 1, skip that one and work that one, and we need another box beside it, so chain 1, skip that one and build another box there. Work along, should be 9 stitches along, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 into that chain stitch is 9. Chain 1, skip 1 and work 1. So we've made 1 box. We need to make 1 more box, so chain 1 and skip that stitch and work in the next stitch and work along. Just work your pattern. Whether you're working from the video or if you're working from your actual crochet, or if you're working from that graph. So keep going along. Should be 9 stitches along. Go into there, number 9. Then we're going to work our 2 boxes. Chain 1, skip 1, work 1. That made 1 box. Chain 1, skip that one and work in to that chain stitch there. That gives us our 2 boxes, and we're going to work along to the end. So on this end we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we should have 7 on this side. 1, and that keeps it all symmetrical. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 into the top of that chain 2. Row 13. After we've done row 13, rewind the video to row 2. Then you'll do row 2 from 2 to 13. Then rewind the video 2 to 13. In between you can have as many sets of 12 stitches as you want, as long as you do an even number of sets of 12 and then add 6 stitches. So chain 2, 1, 2 and turn. So this is the last row of the pattern, and that's what you'll keep repeating. You'll repeat from row 2 to row 13. So we've got our 2 stitches, and we're going to work right along here and make 1 box. And that should be a repeat of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we should have 8 stitches and then 1 box. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 into that chain stitch. Now chain 1, skip that stitch and work into that one, and that makes 1 box. That'll make 1 box, and that's you completed your whole diamond. And work along, so you should have 11 stitches along. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Work along It should be a repeat of this one. So you've got your box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then a box. And that's what you should have up here. So work along. You should have 11 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, chain 1, skip that one, work in that one, chain 1, skip that one, no we're not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going into there for stitch 11. Gives you a nicer pattern if you go in the stitch. Chain 1, skip that stitch and in to that one and work your way along your number of stitches. So it should be 11 along, and then make one box. You work along your chain. You can pause the video as you work. So 1 into there because we're coming up to a peak here. And through that chain. Push through the stitch. And chain 1, skip that stitch and through that one. And as you can see, so once you do your chain 2 and turn, you can rewind the video to row 2 and you'll work the pattern. Or you can just look down and see what row 2 is and follow row 2, then row 3 and work your way up each one. Work your way along. So we're going to make our last box, so 1 into that stitch. Chain 1, skip that stitch and 1 into the next little chain 1 space and work your way along to the end. And that is row 13. So what you'll do is rewind the video to row 2 or use your chart and go back to row 2 and just repeat from row 2 to row 13. I'm going to chain 2 to turn, and that is your pattern. You'll chain 2 and turn, and what you'll do, oops, I've pulled that out. So you'll chain 2, 1, 2, and turn. Now check your pattern and you can move these up. So that's good. You've got 11 in a box, 11 in a box, 11 in a box. So when you've checked it and everything's good, then you can move your pins up. And you know that everything there is all correct. And if you do make a mistake, you're not going to have to rip it out too far down because you've already checked all of these rows. And that helps you to keep it nice and neat. So what you'll do is you'll rewind the video and you'll go back and fix this out. So I've got my blanket done. And this is all I have left. Now each ball has 320 yards, that's 290 metres. And I've used nearly 3 of them. In the UK, that's 100, we go by the grams, that's 100 grams. And this is what I've got left. I either need to pick something different to do my border or buy another ball of yarn. So what I thought I might do is, this is a double knitting yarn. And I thought it's the same thickness as this one. And I thought it would maybe make a nice little lift, take this blanket up a little level by doing my border in a different colour. Now the border is all I'm going to do with my border. I'm going to pick up 1 stitch. I'm going to do it plain and treble, UK treble crochets, that's USA doubles. Because it's got this pattern, I don't want to detract from the pattern. So I'm going to do the border in plain. Each row, I'm just going to put 1 stitch in each row. And I'm going to do the border with it. So I'll come back and I'll show you what it's going to be looking like. If it doesn't look nice, I'll change the shade of the grey. Or I'll just wait and I'll order another ball so I can finish my blanket. So I have got my blanket finished. Now what I did on the border, I put 1 half treble crochet, that's a half double crochet if you're in the USA, into each row. 1 into each row was enough. I went along the top and I went along the bottom, 1 into each stitch. Then I changed to a UK treble crochet, that's a double crochet if you're in the USA. And I've done 3 rows of that. This dark grey really picks up this pattern. It frames it really, really nice as well. So I was quite glad that I actually chose that darker colour. Now I could have just ordered another, I could have just bought myself another ball of this twist. That's what I did. So you can either follow the chart if you can manage to download it. And you can download that off my Ko-fi page. The link is underneath the video and you can get that for free on my Ko-fi page. And I'd like to thank everyone who's donated some money for a cup of coffee. What I do with that is you can donate on that page to help the channel, and the donations I just keep them all, gather it all up, and then I buy myself yarn with it or anything that I need to run my channel. So if I need a new keyboard or I need a new mouse, I'll wait until I've got enough, and then that's what I do with the donations that I get from my Ko-fi page. Now if your edges curl, just spray them with water and make them damp, and then flatten them out and leave it to dry, and it should all flatten out nice and straight. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. It's completely free to subscribe to the channel, and if you click on the bell icon, YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.